Hello, my name is Antonio Capulera, and this is a spotlight on finding my style. Year 1, my very foundation. What you're about to witness is not a collection of polished works, not a gallery of mastery, but something far more important than that. These are my earliest paintings, the ones created before clarity, before confidence, and long before I understood what I was truly trying to say. There is a moment in every artist's life where the desire to create arrives before the ability to control it, where the vision is felt but not yet formed, where instinct leads but understanding has not yet caught up. And that is where this body of work exists, in that space between knowing and not knowing, between intention and execution, between who you are and who you are in the process of becoming. And if I'm being honest, this is the part most people never show, because it's vulnerable, because it's uncertain, because it doesn't always look the way we hoped it would. But believe me, there is something deeply important about this stage, because it holds the truth of effort, the truth of repetition, the truth of showing up, even when the result isn't what you imagined. These paintings are not here to impress you. They are here to show you something far more valuable than that. They show you the beginning of a language being learned, of decisions being made and unmade, of an identity slowly revealing itself through trial and error and persistence. Because style is not something you choose. It's something that emerges when you stay long enough in the process. And so this is where we begin. Not at the end, not at mastery, but here, in the beginner's work, in the questions, and in that quiet determination to keep going until something real takes shape. This is what it looks like to find your style. When people look at a finished work, they assumed it always looked that way, clean, controlled, certain, as if the artist knew exactly what they were doing from the very beginning. But that is not how it happens, not for me, not for anyone who's being honest about the process. It starts like this. Too many ideas happening at once. Too much paint on the surface. Moments where you're trying to fix something and only making it worse. There were times that I would look at a piece and think I had it, only to come back later and realize I did not understand it at all. And that can be frustrating, because you can feel something trying to come through, but you don't yet have the control or the clarity to bring it into form. That's the tension. That's the part people don't like to sit in, because it doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look finished, and it definitely doesn't look like mastery. But this stage is doing something incredibly important. It teaches you what doesn't work. It's showing you where your instincts are ahead of your skill, and it's forcing you to make decisions even when you're not confident in them yet. Some of these paintings I overworked completely. Some of them I did not push far enough, and some I thought were finished simply because I didn't know what else to do. But in every one of them, I moved something forward. That's the part that changes everything. Not whether it turned out right, but whether you stayed in it long enough to learn something from it. If you only show the polished work, you miss this entirely, and this is where the real development happens. Because before anything becomes clear, it has to go through this. At a certain point, something begins to shift, not because the work suddenly becomes perfect, but because your relationship to it changes. You stop expecting every piece to succeed, and you start understanding what it's there to teach you. And that's when you realize something important. Style isn't something that you find. It's something that you build. It's built through repetition, through showing up again and again, and allowing the work to refine you as much as you're trying to refine it. Every decision you make, even the wrong ones, begin to form a pattern. The way you approach light, the way you handle contrast, the way your instincts pull you toward a certain color, even when you don't fully understand why. And those choices, repeated over time, become something recognizable, not because you forced them, but because you stayed in the process long enough for them to reveal themselves. That's how artists are made. Not in the moment where everything works, but in the moments where it doesn't. And you keep going anyway, because every time you push through uncertainty, you're not just improving the work, you're strengthening the one who creates it. You're learning patience. You're learning restraint. You're learning when to stop and when to go further. And over time, those lessons begin to show up, not just in what you create, but in how you create. And that's when something subtle but powerful begins to emerge. And then, somewhere along the way, without a clear moment, without an announcement, something begins to settle. Not perfectly and not completely, but enough to recognize it. The confusion starts to organize itself. The decisions feel a little bit more intentional. And the work, well, it begins to reflect something consistent. Not because you forced it, but because you stayed with it. And when you look back at all that uncertainty, all the overworked pieces, all the moments where you thought you weren't getting it, you begin to understand. It was never wasted. Every line, every mistake, every attempt was building something you couldn't see. Not just the work, but you. Because style is not something you choose. It's something that reveals itself when you've put in enough time to stop pretending, to start creating honestly. So if you're in that place right now, where it feels unclear, where it feels like you're not there yet, stay there. Work through it. Don't hide it, because that is where something real is being formed. Thank you.